Hey guys, it's Djente. Let's run over the bosses in AQ40 and cover consumables, gear, and tactics. Let's go. Prophet Scaram is the first boss in the dungeon. Pre-pop an arcane protection potion, and you might need to use a stone shield potion. Use a mixed gear set which can lean towards threat because there is low tank damage in this fight. As a main tank, aim to keep Scaram in the center platform. As a tank on the side platform, be ready with taunts to pick up anything that comes to your side. Allow the main tank to taunt the real Scaram and take it back to the center platform if he comes to your side. Rinse and repeat this process and you will definitely get this easy boss cleared. Bug Trio. Recommended consumables here are a greater nature protection potion and a stone shield potion. Sapper charges can also be nice for the adds that spawn from yaoi. In terms of gear here, wear a mixed set. Life-giving gem can also be very nice when bugs enrage. Split the bosses up and tank them in separate alcoves to line of sight counter a lot of their abilities. If you're tanking Kree, make sure you don't let him cleave your raid and watch out for his hard-hitting thrash ability. Using a shield and a stone shield potion will really help mitigate this. It's a good idea to put 2 tanks on Yaoi as she will cast a fear that will drop threat. If you're tanking her, utilize Berserker Rage and attempt to keep her in her alcove so she doesn't cast abilities on the other bosses. If you're tanking Vem, try and keep your back against the wall which will counter his knockback ability. If he is the last bug alive, he will enrage. Be ready for hard hitting damage here. A stone shield potion and a shield will help. When Vem dies, he will enrage remaining bugs, so be ready to play defensively when this happens. Sartura. As the main tank here, use a stone shield potion. I recommend using a mitigation set that focuses on effective health. If you are tanking adds, make sure they are away from the boss and these should be the first kill targets. If you are tanking Sartura, keep her away from your raid. Outside of her whirlwind ability, your raid should be trying to keep her stunned as long as possible. When she goes into a whirlwind, set up a taunt rotation with 3 tanks and aim to keep her in one spot away from the raid for the duration of her whirlwind. Be ready with a solid taunt rotation every time she goes into a whirlwind and it makes this fight very trivial. Fankris. I recommend using a stone shield potion here along with a mixed set of gear and a diamond flask for extra threat. This fight is very easy to do with 1 tank. Go all out on dual wield threat using a stone shield potion. If you get to 5 stacks of the mortal wound debuff and incoming damage is too high, then go for a tank swap. As an off tank here, be ready to pick up loose adds that spawn and be ready for a tank swap if it is needed. Vicidus. Consumable wise, use a greater nature protection potion and be ready to use lots of poison resistance elixirs or small immature venom sacs. Sapper charges are also a must here. Making a macro that includes some of your core abilities and the use of a poison resistance elixir makes it very nice and easy to cleanse some of these debuffs without having to think about an extra action. Aim to move Vicidus away from any poison clouds that spawn to protect your melee. It's a good idea to try and position Vicidus in the center of the room before he freezes. This means when he shatters and his adds spawn, it will be a lot cleaner and the adds will come to the center of the room at the same time. Go for a big sapper when the oozes converge in the center of the room and then be ready to blast big threat when he reforms. Always be ready to use defensive cooldowns if your healers have to reposition. Princess Hu. Use full threat consumables, a pre-popped greater nature protection potion and a stone shield potion. Gear wise, run with a high threat set with good effective HP. Life-giving gem and diamond flask are brilliant trinkets here. This fight is very doable without any melee using nature resistance. Go for massive DPS and a huge threat ceiling with 1 tank. You can use Death Wish if you feel comfortable and you need it. Be ready to pop heavy defensive trinkets and cooldowns at the 30% enrage phase. If you have a good threat lead, you can definitely swap to a shield and even use shield wall if you need to at the 30% enrage phase. I like to pop last stand and life-giving gem at the same time when she hits 30% just to give a nice HP buffer. Twin Imps. Consumable wise, use a stone shield potion and a spirit of Zanza if you have one available. Go for a mixed gear set with a focus on effective health. Life-giving gem is very nice here. Take any AoE items off like Thunder Fury to avoid pulling unwanted scarabs. Maintain as much uptime on shield block as you can. This is extremely important to negate the heavy damage coming out from unbalancing strike. Maintain demo shout on the boss and be ready to use defensive cooldowns if your healers have to reposition. Move away from Veclaw as soon as he teleports to your side. Sit and wait next to Veclaw. You need to be outside of his AoE range, but you also need to be the closest person. When Vecnalash teleports back to your side, the closest player to him will get threat. This has to be you. Continue this smooth dance of a fight and prioritize uptime on shield block. The Wormboy. Mighty Rage Potion is a nice consumable to use here if you take a threat drop. Pre-popping the GMPP can also be very beneficial if the fight gets messy. Gear wise, use a mixed set that focuses on threat. There are lots of strategies involving this boss, utilizing various classes, and some strategies even range in the Sandblast threat drop mechanic. One I have tested and really like involves having 2 warlocks in separate spots, building threat at range so they soak the Sandblast and don't take melee damage from the boss. They need to be positioned so that their Sandblast won't hit the other warlock or the raid. As a warrior tank, be ready to pump as much threat as possible. If you are targeted for a Sandblast, make sure that you don't have the boss facing your raid. It's often a good idea to make sure you're sitting below the warlocks, as long as that means the warlocks will be on top. Cthun. A greater nature protection potion can be very useful for the first tank running in. Gear wise, go for a mixed set that focuses mainly on DPS. If you are the tank that's going to be soaking the first I-beams, you will need to have a good health pool. If you are the first tank running into the room, run hard left or right and soak as many beams as you can. It is important that no one else in your raid casts abilities until they are in position. If they do cast abilities, they are going to be on Cthulhu's aggro table and targetable for an I-beam. Don't be afraid to use defensive cooldowns like Last Stand to survive here, as you won't need them throughout the fight. Stand at your designated position, which is likely to be on the edge of the room, and kill any tentacles which spawn close. During the Dark Glare phase, be sure to output as much damage as possible into the Eye of Cthulhu, and aim to be on the opposite side of the room when it ends. When phase 2 hits, pick up any of the greater tentacles that spawn and pump as much damage as possible into Cthulhu during his weakness. If you get sucked into the stomach, it's usually a good idea to leave straight away so DPS and healers can enter and you can tank on the outside. That's going to wrap up this guide on AQ40 tanking. If you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like and a subscribe. That would be great. I stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday and Sunday on Twitch, so if you have any questions at all, be sure to head on over there. I look forward to seeing you. Until then, keep pumping the meters, keep threatening like a bad boy, and most of all, keep on blasting.
Counter spell on that far tree, getting pulled in. Mobs are getting a bit close now. Pump the mana shields, protect our life. No.